Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Random Gamer Riven and welcome to today's weekday randomised gaming stream. And in today's video we'll be looking at the 2000 the PS1 title released in 2000, Chaos Breaker. And it was developed by Taito and published by Taito in Japan, published by Eon Digital in Europe. Now at the start I get to pick two characters. Unlike Resident Evil, however, whichever character I pick has a different story and actually has a different starting point within, so it's quite a bit different. It's not like Resident Evil where you both start at the same point and things differ a bit, which was quite lazy. This is like proper alternative routes and things going through the campaign. So I'll pick Mizuki to begin with. And I'll let the cutscene play out.
Accident has occurred. Eliminate the cause at once. We've lost contact with the DEF agent who infiltrated the facility 2 days ago. Be on your guard at all times. That is all. We will shortly be entering the airspace over the laboratory.
Roger. The interior of the facility is probably very well guarded indeed.
How do we deactivate it?
The quickest solution would be to shut down the control system. But we'll need a pass card for that.
Doesn't look like we're gonna have it easy.
And I think I'm now in control, so I think...
Let's split up and check the place out.
Be careful.
I know already.
Just slightly adjust the screen so... Okay, that'll do. That way you guys actually get full screen. So this is actually a follow-up to a Taito arcade game. It's basically a slight Resident Evil style. The arcade game is very similar, but a bit more run and gun and more single screen type thing. But pretty much the same type of gameplay. Shoot bugs and monsters. Save hostages. And you see in this I can actually so basically I'll describe this as a much more action-packed Resident Evil. Now, I've been doing some testing today, and this is one of the few games that I can largely force into 60 Hz without issue. So, after last night's stream playing Panzer Bandit, I thought I'd give another whirl to see if we could find a way to make sure that we can try and correct the issue that some games have when played on a Japanese... Oh, napalm acquired. PS... Well, basically we've got power modded PS2, and occasionally that plays some PS1 Japanese games as PAL because of how they're hard-coded. And we found a way to actually fix that via a program called the Import... It was the Import Player Lite. Yes, a very catchy name. It was actually done way back in 2000, so yeah, not much else. There's nothing here. And we discovered that if you use that, you can correct the issue of some PS2 NTSC games running in PAL. It can also be used to force PAL games. However, I've done some forcing today and discovered that the vast majority of PAL games on the PS2 were optimized.
Yeah? What is it?
I'm in B2 right now. Come over here for a sec.
Roger.
Look at this. What do you think?
Looks like first stage parasitic infestation.
But was there anything like this in the life form samples from last time?
No, it wasn't reported. Looks like this job isn't going to go down easy like usual.
What? What's this? It's an entry card to get into the control center.
Looks like we can get in at least.
Okay, so just before I do the next bit, because we can guess what's going to happen here very shortly in a moment. This is actually quite an interesting one because I was able to force it into 60 Hz without too much issue, but there are definitely this has been PAL optimized. In fact, it seems the vast majority of games, unfortunately, have been optimized in PAL. The only one we could get, this and Castlevania Chronicles, seem to have minimal optimizing. This has got some optimization. Castlevania Chronicles seems to have very little. Castlevania Symphony of the Night I could not get to even boot into NTSC. It would revert back to PAL every time. Strider and Diablo seem to instigate some form of tech that would cause the start button to constantly press. So there were a few things that was like, okay, so this is interesting, but it seems that most games are really badly optimized for PAL on the PS1, unfortunately. This is actually quite an interesting PS1 survival game. It wasn't released in North America, surprisingly, and it's actually from 2000, so it's a sort of late life PS1 game. In fact, very late life, just before the release of the PS2, in fact.
Run!
And yes,
Jake.
Nothing we can do. One mistake and we're all dead.
You're right.
Still, that was something else. We hit it with all we had, and it didn't even blink. Is that what those cells grow into?
Yeah. But there were no reports of life forms like this in the previous operation.
You mean it's something else entirely?
I don't know. It's very likely, though, that biological manipulation at the molecular level was going on here.
so you gotta love this classic 90s voice acting, so deadpan, no emphasis, it's just classic 90s horror game. So your characters can, you basically got close combat and you can shoot as well. I'll let him do the shooting, save me some ammo at the minute. Something you don't normally see in these type of games, you can both close combat and shoot. Oh, that was napalm, didn't want to do that. I think you got dodge as well, yeah. In your center camera angle. Obviously reload. Unfortunately, when I did force this into 60 Hz, it did actually crash, so...
I'll start by contacting headquarters.
I'll check around.
I reminded the Resident Evil line, "I'll go and check," from Barry. Or was that Chris who said that? It's just... I think it's Chris who says, "I'll go and check." That cutscene there was where it actually crashed for me at 60 Hz, so... You see, they've got a weird sort of mix of sci-fi. So the previous instant they're referring to is Chaos Heat, because this is effectively a semi-sequel or follow-up to Chaos Heat, which was a Taito arcade game. So if you, it is actually it is on main, because I never actually saw it in the actual arcade board. I think it may have even used PS1, but Chaos Heat is the game. This is the follow-up title too. That's a bit more arcadey, but this is basically something similar to Resident Evil with a bit more arcade gameplay, and Chaos Heat was probably even more arcadey as it was an actual arcade game. I'm not sure if some of the characters from Chaos Heat appeared in this one as well. It's actually been a little while since I played the arcade game. Here, yep, I want to shoot the alien. Everybody was kung fu fighting. Oh, we got another one. Let's go kick. Notepad acquired, and we've got the menu. Let's see if I can actually items. Oh, we have a map like Resident Evil. Can I zoom in like Resident Evil? We've got items. There's a big dirty note paper. It says Swarm. We can use the PC. Flux database. Okay, that is actually save. can't check the trash either. So this is probably a little bit rough and ready in the English translation, I have to admit. It certainly plays really well. It does support the analog control stick, although it doesn't support one for camera changes. There's that weird era where we had analog sticks and half the time most games wouldn't use one of the analog sticks. Okay, can I...
Mitski, it's me. Where are you?
I'm still in the area. I don't know how to deactivate the security system.
Well, I figured out how the security system controls work. Basically, security for each area can be deactivated by entering a passcode into the security control terminal for that area. We're going to have to find those passcodes ourselves, though. I figure the security systems from here won't be that tough, being a laboratory and all. But first we need to find working terminals. Also, it looks like each room requires its own passcard. We'll just have to find the people who are carrying them.
Thanks. I'll keep an eye out.
Okay, so I've got to go look for some passwords. I have to admit, I do miss this type of old classic survival horror game. I do feel I'm not a big fan of the new Resident Evils, I have to admit. I think they kind of went a bit awry with Resident Evil 4. I mean, Resident Evil 4 was a good game. It's a fantastic gun shooter, but in hindsight, when you look at it, it's not a Resident Evil game. It's an action arcade gunner, because there's just no... I always felt Resident Evil 4 was very much... There was no survival and tension in it. It was more just about shooting everything going, which is a really good game, but it's not the direction you... in hindsight, I think they should have taken the series. 5 and 6, however, went completely off the rails, so... And 7, I think, was another game shoehorned. 7's a really weird game. It's like... some weird Texas Chainsaw Massacre thing that was sort of... shoehorned. It just looks awful. Grenades there. Lots of weapons in this one. Resiliency, and I'm currently looking for passcodes, so much like Resident Evil, I've got to find something in order to move to the next area. So let's see what we can find. Let's have a look, one last look around here. It looked like I found everything. There's nothing tucked under the bed. There's always that element of exploration I love about these type of games. I always remember so many people used to get stuck, certainly at school, but say, oh, the Resident Evil was really hard, or I'm stuck, and it's one of those games that I just blitzed through it. I found it really easy. I must admit, despite Resident Evil 2 being regarded as the pinnacle, I only ever played it through once on the Dreamcast. Oh, more robots. I still actually think myself the original Resident Evil is the best. It just has a bit more suspension and horror with the mansion setting. Something I think none of the other Resident Evils ever quite got right with the settings. Lots of doors to explore. So although I've obviously got quite a lot of these napalms and other heavy weapons, I'm going to reserve them. Data disc. Energy pack. So there's lots of pickups in this, more so than Resident Evil. I'm guessing this, because this is sort of Taito and arcade based, this will be a lot more similar to Chaos Heat, the arcade game. This is a follow-up to, which was very, basically, the Chaos Heat's a bit like a top-down Contra with aliens. But you sort of move around rooms and shoot, just blow everything. So now there's definitely something else in this room. So what do the data discs do? Are they can we read them? Have they got the passcodes on them? The line is not connected. So the level 2 security passcode can be entered from this room, right. Will this take me into the centre room? Although I'm getting a distinct impression I shouldn't go into the centre room just yet. Oh.
That's funny. I can't raise outside. Maybe it's damaged.
Now, as with good any survival horror game, this guy is the Star Trek equivalent of the red shirt, and I suspect it won't be too long before he meets his maker.
The same thing as the life form that was found in the accident 2 years ago.
It resulted from the same cells. I'm certain of it. Larry, fix the communicator circuits.
What are you going to do?
I want to check out the research facility.
Wait, are you going in there alone?
Don't worry. I know their ecology better than anyone.
But...
And besides, if we don't act now, it'll be too late. I doubt it'll just stay in its tube like a good boy.
Okay. We can communicate with one another within the building. I'll call when I know what's going on. Watch yourself.
I know. You take care of those repairs.
So poor Jake's already met his match, and obviously Larry's probably going to be joining him at some point in the not too distant future. Okay, so this is the centre room I'm in. The 1 health pack. Actually can explore the outside. These type of grains are great for sort of exploration. Let's see if I can get to the first boss. As I mentioned at the start of the stream, the other character actually has a very different route through the game. He's got a very different story, and you actually start at 2 different points. there's quite a lot of replay value. This is not like Resident Evil where both characters had a very, very similar story with just a few minor changes. There's quite a lot of differences. It reminds me a bit of Carrier on the Dreamcast, which was one of them we did actually cover on the channel. Oh, yep, shoot that. Trying to pick up that CD. I think it's there. Yeah, data disc acquired. So what do all those data discs do? I have no idea. Well, I could pull out the manual, as it is a nice full colour manual. Ooh. Okay, pick that up. It's not letting me pick that up. Wherever it is, it's not letting me pick it up. There we go. Drink acquired. I assume that's a health drink. Right. Can't use a heart disease drug. Okay. Does it say Fullmex Biomaterial Industry? Hopefully not related to Umbrella Corporation. So is this... Because that door's locked and we've obviously got to adjust the time. Is that on the robots? I think it's down there. There's a lot of clipping in this game. It's a little bit rough and ready. And we have a toilet. More health. Another data disc. This is the door that leads outside. It's shut tight. And this one was locked between, what was it again, 9 and... So the other one I passed, it was locked. Okay, I'm going to have to go back. Other side, there should be the robot room. Yep, where Larry is. I'll be amazed if Larry survives more than an hour into this game, but you never know. If poor Jake didn't even last 10 minutes.
It's taking more time than I thought it would.
Ah, a bit of paper with swarm in it. I'm just wondering where we're supposed to go now. It's suddenly twigged that the bit of paper with swarm on it. Swarm is probably one of the passwords.
Please enter security code.
Swarm, wasn't it?
Security has been unlocked.
And nothing in the trash. Hence why you should always explore every nook and cranny in all these type of games, because you never know when you're going to find something that's useful or key to go. So we've got the password. So that was the level 2 released. So we need to release level 4. And we're probably about to head towards a boss battle in the near future, with there being some menacing thing in a test tank. Must remember that roll as well comes in really. It's actually the loading's really seamlessly done, the transition between the mode. Got napalm on them. So that's surprisingly disappointing amount of damage. Security is not released. We must release the level 3 security. But yeah, interesting. The early tests seemed to indicate when we were doing some force testing that most PlayStation Power games, doing a comparison, we want Front Missions 3 is actually one of the few games we have both the NTSC and Power version of, and on tests it seemed to indicate that the Power version was just slightly optimized, slightly being the key word, but enough so that when you run the Power version at 60 you then get cut off, which is a huge annoyance because the Power version is clearly not properly optimized for running. Ooh, look at that pop-up and texture. Shaky texture. I mean, that's the thing in the PlayStation, it's well known for its very shaky textures. It wasn't a very powerful 3D console, so... Here's where we get all the big guns out for. Yeah, we'll put a napalm on and that's got sorted. But yes, a few games we were forcing into power, we noticed that you would get it would rapidly pause. So we think that might be some form of weird copy protection or force protection. Basically some weird import protection. Basically the game would constantly press pause every time you unpaused it. And we're guessing that's in case there's probably some piracy protection in the event you played. So that's the sort of classic Resident Evil zombie, although they're easy enough to gun down. We've got quite a lot of them as well. Probably do a mix of gun shooting and close combat. This is actually quite... I do like the close combat. It does feel much more fluid than Resident Evil. Resident Evil could always be... Okay, so we've got 2 floors. Laboratory A. I assume the other one's Laboratory B. Ah, it actually gives you the time in game. So obviously that laboratory that opens, you have to wait till it opens in game time. Ouch, that's cafeteria. Okay, can we go in there? The dining room key is... Okay, that's probably where our boss is going to be. Or our first boss. So yes, it was interesting actually. I basically spent the whole day sort of just checking a few PAL games and just seeing if we could get much success with forcing them at 60 Hz on the PS2. And the end result was largely no. And it's clear Sony had most games were optimized in some... They seem to optimize the screen resolution slightly. We noticed the PlayStation largely NTSC games output at what we noticed as 263p, but in PAL they would output at 312p. So in PAL they're outputting at a different resolution to NTSC. Of course what that means is when you force them back into NTSC you then get cut off even if you have large borders because the resolutions don't fit well together, and that's hugely irritating. In fact it does mean that the PS1, it's easy to see why there hasn't been much on the way of forcing PS1 stuff, because it seems that if you force pretty much everything you're going to have issues. It's not, I wouldn't call it well optimized, it's incredibly badly, but you only need some minor things and then you're getting uncorrectable overscan from the data output. So the video output causes, basically it's not, I remember some TV people were saying, oh it's technically not true overscan. To overscan you can adjust, well it's sort of a hardware overscan that can't be adjusted. It outputs a resolution beyond which the console can output at. So if I somehow die in the next 20 minutes, I'll probably swap character. But if the flux state, deflect status. Okay, more. Let's see what we got. So clearly after the original Chaos Heat, the arcade game, the storyline carries on a few years later where they're still carrying experiment. Oh, 2014, so we've already passed the date of this biohazard catastrophe. Not mentioned. Oh, so we've got to find Mayor's notepad. Probably going to check the bin, as there's probably going to be one or two where you open up and find interesting things tucked away in the bin. Admittedly, this is one game, probably if you're playing a Japanese version, inputting passwords might be somewhat tricky in reading the emails. And unfortunately, this is the only... There was only a PAL release in English. There is not a North American release, so... As I mentioned, it seemed to force okay early when we were doing it, but we had a crash at one of the cutscenes, so I have to retry it again. It's locked from the other side. Dun dun dun! Let's check the map again, so straightforward. So I've got two doors. Okay, let's see if I can get into... I should say hello to everyone watching the stream. We've got quite a few people watching tonight, although we haven't got anyone commenting, but that's okay. If you don't want to chat away, that's fine by me. You can just listen to me. Chat away. Okay, so we've got a terminal in here. And a monster by the sound of it, yeah. Try to go for close combat, finish it. Type your close combat. You don't do that much damage in close combat, it disappears. Okay, so lots of deactivated computers, but we do have one over here. The Fluxus database. So PS1 control. Okay, the control pad came a bit loose there.
enter security code.
I'll just check the items I've got, but I'm guessing... Oops, a daisy. That's what happens when you press the wrong button. Hi Frank! Welcome to today's randomised game stream. Yes, this is Chaos Break. It is a pretty obscure PS1 game from Taito. You've either got the Japanese version or you've got a... Well, it was released in PAL, but like many late life PS1 games, I'd say the PAL releases are were pretty low print runs. Probably looking at about 5 figures worth of copies, if not 4. Actually, probably 5. Most games would have had a 5-figure print run. Sony would have had minimum print sizes, and when you're shipping games all over Europe. Electromagnetic key quiet, and is that data disk acquired? Something else on there? I can see there's something else on the table, but it's obviously... Something, if it had something written on it, I can't read it. Okay, so there is nothing here. Yep. Okay. So if we search the drawers. Oh, yes, we can do. Gotta keep an eye out for that. It's not obvious you could search the drawers. Search the drawers this side. No, nothing in them. Ah, is that the key for the dining room? Okay, I could go down to another floor. I'm going to hazard a guess going through that tripwire will not be safe to my health. Okay, let's just check the items. Ah, canteen, so that's the canteen key. I must be, this is again one of the times I'm actually playing it. This was actually a title to Groom picked up, so I've not really played it that much myself. So this is really the first time I'm playing it, but I thought, you know what, let's see what it's like. It has been a while. We haven't really done too many Resident Evil games. I've certainly not done one in the streams, so I thought let's finally do a Resident Evil style game in the streams. Okay, menacing music, never a good sign. Health power up and drinks machine, also not a good sign. Let's just use that. Reminds me a bit of Deep Fear as well. Blue Stinger, I mean, Deep Fear as well. Now, yep, here we go. This is going to be the first boss, isn't it?
My God. What's this hole?
That's what the worm made earlier, Milk. Mitu, stand away, stand away. What's it? And the worm is back with vengeance. Well, there's Mayor's notebook. Perhaps not the most menacing boss fight. Probably good to use that health pack. Let's get out of there. And if I go back in, has it run off or is it still lurking there? Because there was a health pack under the table. Yeah, it has run off. Show there's something sort of shiny. Is the health pack this side? Shows there's something spinning around. There's definitely a health pack in here, but I can't quite work out where it's located. The pickupping is one issue with this that's slightly flawed, that I will say. There's the glimmer of the back wall. Get Mayor's notepad. Okay, we actually have a little Sudoku puzzle. Okay guys, you can join. So okay, I'll just get out of this danger. Alright, but I think it burst through the floor where the table with the health pack was, so I should have grabbed that before. But I actually have a little puzzle to solve now, so I'll just get out to safety, even though the thing was gone. I assume we'll be fighting the worm later. Alright, so you guys on the stream, shout out answers if you know them. So this is a classic Sudoku puzzle. So, first thing I'll start with, so we have, so I assume 1 to 6 across, 1 to 6 up and down. So, law of the rule says that this, because we've got the 2 there and the 1 there, and if it goes in a row and across, this is going to have to be a 1. Hi Randy B, thanks for joining the stream. Yep, this is actually the first time I've played Chaos Break, so we bought it a little while back. It's not actually mine, it's Dragoon's, but it's certainly one I thought we'd give it a whirl, since it's a Resident Evil style game. We haven't done too many, so I've not actually seen. It's quite nice, this puzzle, so I've got to figure this out. So do shout, if you can see an answer, shout out. Just describe one of the 6 boxes. So that's a row. We've got 5, 4, 2, 3. So next up we want 3. So 5, 3. So again, that's going to be 2 and the 1, but either can go either side there. So we need the 5. Okay. Ooh. Yeah. So that's got to be the 5. That's got to be the 4. So and that's 6. There's certainly a hidden gem. I think this is obviously one, seeing those puzzles, this is not a game I would probably recommend if the Japanese version of, unless you're using a guide or a walkthrough. So that means you've got 2 1s. So that means a 1, 5, 6, 4, 3. So that's got to be the 2. This is a bit like P. This reminds me a bit of P-Cross actually. So we do P-Cross the other week. So that's 2. So we actually have every 4. That I can figure has to be a 4. As all the other slots are covered, so we've actually got a lot of 6s as well. So 6, 6, 6, and 6, and because we've got that one, that's where the 6 will fall, so that will be the 1. So 4, 3, so this will be the 5. Yep, no connecting 5s. Got 1, 4, so I need 3. Okay, that's got to be the 5. That's got to be 3. Okay, so here we need 1. And I need 2. Yep, both of those need 1 and 2. No clear guess as to where... Okay, so what do I need? 1, 2, 4, 6. That's got to be 3. Again, that fits in beautifully. We've got 3 3s, 3, 3, and 3. Three, 6, 4, 5. So again, we need the 1, and I need the 2. I need the 1 and the 2 in both of these, so I've got this one. Okay, 4, 3, 5, 6. So I need the 2 and the 1 here as well. Do I just need the 1 and 2 and everything? I think I do, don't I? 1, 2. Yes. Okay, so let's try 1. Let's turn that into the 2. Let's turn that into the 2. Well, no, if we get it wrong. 1, 2, 1. 6, 1, 2, 5, 4. So let me just make a quick note of that. Passcode is 61254. Nice little puzzle solving activity there. So let's go to that terminal again where I can use it. That was the near terminal in the left room, I believe. So yeah, I must admit this is probably a bit of a hidden gem. I will agree. It's actually very good. I've not had any complaints so far. It plays well. You've got two characters, of course. Although just doing Mizaki's story, it's far. I mean, even though I'm actually playing the PAL version, it's I definitely feel it feels optimized because she moves really quickly. As I say, it can be forced, but we did have a crash in one of our tests. But one of the few. Okay, I need to do the other PC then. That was the other one, was in the office with the override. Yeah, it's definitely not a game you want to play with the Japanese version.
Please enter security code.
Oh, this one's only actually got numbers. This is 6, 1, 2, 5, 4.
Security has been unlocked.
You know, I'm quite enjoying this, so I'll press on for a little bit longer before I finish tonight. At least want to get past the laser room, so we've got the laser grid room offline. I'm going the wrong way. I want to go this way. It was down here, wasn't it, the laser grid room? Let's take a side left and then go up. Okay. So there's the security chief's note again, and we should now have a deactivator. Well, I can't actually read the note again at the minute. And all the lasers are switched off. Yeah, I shouldn't try and really get the odd close combat hit on them because they seem to... Guess we've got multiple rooms here. Okay, so straight ahead we have a terminal to the left. Let's go left first. Again, another data disk, which I have no idea what the data discs are used for. I should actually read the manual. It's a nice full colour manual. We've got drugs as well. I'm going to have to guess that is a key item. Another health pack. Good, good, good. Let's grab the stuff in here. We've got any monsters lurking around? Life pack acquired. Just gonna run around here, seeing as you never quite know what's tucked away or tucked out of sight. we've got another full, so that's a drug mix, and we've still got a couple of rooms to go. So the constant temperature key. So let's just shoot this guy. So all roads lead here. Is this going to be an elevator down? Okay, so I'm guessing the anti... Going down, yes. So the setting for this is quite good. It does remind me a bit of the old mansion of Resident Evil. There is seems to be a little bit of tension, so... Oh. New monster. Ooh, Okay, this guy's really soaking up the bullets. I do like the fact this is almost, it does seem very seamless with how it all goes. Ooh. It's much quicker to load than Resident Evil. Ooh, that's not good. Huh? Okay, these guys are an absolute... Yeah, you're not going to be fighting them in close combat. Okay, obviously the level 3 security will be the next one we need to release. Okay, gotta run in, trigger them. Okay. Once it does that, Lots of green stuff smeared all over the walls. Okay, there is a bit of shoehorning on Resident Evil. I know shoehorns, but you get a bit more freedom. This, I think, is shoehorning us very clearly in one direction. And this is only one of the characters as well. We haven't done the other character story, and I said Rick's or his story starts in a very different part of the base. So. That's level 3 security door, so I'm just... Okay, lure them to one side. I'm just going to run. I think wasting ammo on these guys would not be necessarily a great idea. Because they take up an awful lot of ammo, it seems.
Who's there?
Oh, we actually found a survivor.
What's wrong with you? The heart drug. The drug is in the center's infirmary. Please bring it to me.
Ah, now that's the one we already got, haven't we? Because we've already been in the infirmary. I'm correct.
Thank you. You saved my life. You look hurt. Are you okay? These wounds aren't serious. My arm hurts a little, though. Take it easy. Do you work here? Yes. I'm Rachel Waring. My official title is Assistant Chief Research. Then you know about AP? Yes. It wasn't part of my work, but I have a certain idea what it was about. But to synthesize the AP, we need a component from the core life form. Life form? That thing slithering around over there? No, the one stored below, bred in a sterile environment. Only the chief researcher has authorization to go below this level, though. I don't know how to deactivate it. I see. I have a card that's good up to level 3, though. Here. This should enable you to get a lot more places than you could before. Thanks. Now I've got to figure out how to get further down.
So more iconically bad voice acting there.
The chief researcher is wearing a blue uniform. How many people were in the forward passage?
The one thing I will say, I did see footage of the Japanese version, and yes, that does have all the voice acting in English, but the text isn't all Japanese. So clearly these are all English voice actors they got for the Jap. It's quite comically bad, the dub, I have to admit, and you saw some of the English is not. Re-experiment, whether that needs a hyphen there, I'm not sure. There are a few spelling mistakes I've seen. Obviously Rachel's terminal, so we've got the key card to access all the level 3 doors now. So this is steadily opening up. Just so you can see, just check the manual here. I'm going to finish in a sec, guys, seeing as we've run on a bit longer than normal. Doesn't actually tell. Magazines, energies. There are quite a few different weapons, but it doesn't tell me what the data discs are used for. So we just keep picking them up. I have no idea what they're used. They've got to be used for something. Collect data discs to increase your score. There we go. I mentioned in the manual. Your score. Why would you? I'm assuming there's some sort of score attack at the end. Energy pack. So that's ammunition. There's one way to get rid of them. What's on this terminal? I've got to find Lucas for the passcode then.
Enter security code.
Anything hidden in the lockers? Yes, there is. Data disk. Yeah, probably should literally. Oh, code chart acquired. Ah, the name on the business card is Lucas. So poor Lucas has obviously met his maker. Details, see me, Lucas. We've got a nice another little puzzle here. Code chart. I see, we've got to find words for the code chart. Okay. So yes, not the best known Resident Evil clone. Actually, it's actually pretty damn good actually. Quite surprised. I mean, it's probably not as sort of impressive looking as Resident Evil 2, but it's actually all 3D, so unlike Resident Evil 2's pre-rendered. But yes, quite liking what I'm playing. It's actually the first time I sat down with this, but certainly definitely worth a pick up, I'd say. I think it's a bit more pricey. I think this is about £20 to £30 now here in the UK. It is 50 Hz. We were able to force it, as I mentioned earlier. We've been doing force testing. This is one of the few games that seem to force largely without problems. I say that as I mentioned the fact. So there's definitely time usable only between 8 and 2400. So it tells you the time there. Although according if that date 2015, So yes, you've got a long way to go before some of these doors open in the game time. So it's just going to have Smith on it now. Let's see, so... We can actually have a play around with that. Okay, so I've got to find some more key cards. But I've been streaming this for an hour and a half now, so I think I will wrap it up there. Thanks for watching, everyone. We've had quite a few people on the stream. I'm quite surprised. I wasn't too sure how many people would actually be interested in seeing a slightly obscure survival horror game. Actually, surprisingly very good. Certainly another one of those ones. It is available on... I saw it is available on the Japanese PSN. Like so many games, it's the Japanese... Have you ever been to the Japanese PS3 store? I know the PS3's in its final death throes these days, but the PS3 store had just literally almost every single PS1 game made available for it in Japan. And again, you could buy them and play them on PSP and PS Vita. Sadly, the same is not true at the European store, which had probably about 100 PAL PS1 games, even though there's somewhere in the region of like 1,000 or something. And granted, a lot of them aren't very good, but this is one game that definitely well deserved a re-release. Well worth playing again. This would be Square Enix as well, so although Eon, I suppose the concerns whether Eon Digital originally published it, whether they still have some control of the copyright, but ideally you'd think Square Enix should. It's probably quite a good type of game to actually remake. I mean, these type of games that have sort of aged a bit, you could sort of really tart up and do well for a more modern remake. So this has been Chaos Breaker. It's certainly worth tracking down if you're a fan of this genre. I don't think it's that cheap, but I don't think it's super expensive, so I think it's about 20, 30. I think in the 20, 30, 40 bracket, which isn't too bad. Certainly worth looking at if you like this type of title, if you like the survival horror genre. It's quite good fun, actually. I've been quite enjoying it. Even if the dialogue is as wooden and quite hilarious in places with some of what we've seen. And yeah, I didn't even get to show any of Rick, but Rick's game is very different to Mizuki's. I think that's pronouncing her name, so Rick's game, do you start in a different area? I don't know whether I assume there's probably something similar to Resident Evil when you cross over at certain points, but yeah, quite a nice title. Certainly, an hour in, I still feel like I've got a long way to go, so definitely worth the investment, I'd say. And yes, this was, we discovered this is one of the few games that seem to force okay at 60 Hz. We've been trying out what was said was the import player 2.1, which seems to work-ish. The main thing we found is it's a great way of fixing the issue of PAL and PAL modded PS2 forcing PAL games in, or forcing NTSC games into 50 Hz, which is a weird issue where I think some games actually have the coding on them for the PAL region or detect the PS2, and thus force themselves, the nature of the PS2, and thus force themselves into the native region. So you can, in theory, force some PAL games into 60 Hz on a Japanese PS2 just by if you had a modded NTSC one. And the same applies to a PAL one, where you only get the games, where you'll then get NTSC games playing at 50 Hz, which is rather annoying, but we found a way to actually resolve that issue, which was quite good. So you've got a couple people joining the stream. Unfortunately, guys, I'm literally about to finish. I'm just going to explore the other rooms here, or I just chat away rather than me standing still. So There's quite a lot of usable sorts. There's time-related areas as well. Now, I think that room down below had the key card as well. We've obviously got to find all the different... Oh, another data disc. I assume the data disc count towards your final performance at the end. Much like Resident Evil, you got the rank at the end with the costumes and everything. It certainly has that later PS1 game look. I should use the roll more as well. That was the breeding room key, wasn't it? But it's a surprisingly well-made game. I wish Taito did more original titles. They kind of petered out, but I think they stuck too closely to arcades, and by the time they realised the arcade market was on its way out, they were too late to really join the home market, as their games felt like a generation behind because they weren't developing home games. There's one of the guys there. Cruder. Right, that's it. Oh, that's actually a quick way of dashing as well. Okay, another guy there. Business card is Wilson. Okay. Actually, that puzzle's annoying me, so I might just quickly show how to solve it. I do wonder if this is like Resident Evil 3, whether the puzzles will randomly rotate, or whether they will remain the same. So Resident Evil 3, I think Resident Evil 1 and 2, the puzzles... Actually, no, I think their puzzles slightly change in Resident Evil 1 and 3. You have to sort of... Okay, that's a level 4 security door. Pretty sure the roll might be slightly quicker, actually. Okay, so there we got Wilson and Kruger. Is that everyone's name on the business card? So yeah, I think solving this, we're not going to go into the level 4 area. Or maybe that might be boss, you know, maybe I'll be brave and just... If that's a boss area, it might be worth just quickly fighting it. That's always a good area to absolutely finish the stream. Okay, so we do have everyone's names. Okay, so... Okay, that's going to be... Know where Smith and Lucas overlap. Cranes, Wilson. Doesn't seem right, does it? Smith there. feel like I might be missing someone. One of them should be Rachel, shouldn't it? Surely Rachel would have a business card as well.
The storage device manager, if memory serves. I'm sorry, but I really don't know anything more than that. Inserting names of other staffers might be a good idea. But I really don't know any.
That was Rachel's turn. Just want to check there's not someone else lying around here that I missed before. So type of Wilson there, that gives me an L. No, that gives me an S. And then Smith and because can't overlap. Kruger, that gives me a G. Smith. Okay, that's the point. None of them can actually overlap. So. I'm going to leave that puzzle solving there. Whether there's another, I think there must be another staffer unless you just got to jingle around with the 4 names to solve it. But I'm actually going to leave it there. Thing has been going on for an hour and 40 minutes now. So thank you for watching, everyone on the stream. This has been Chaos Breaker, as I mentioned at the start. It was developed by Taito. It was released in 2000 on the PlayStation 1. It was only available on the PlayStation 1, although it is available in Japan on the PS3 as a digital download to the PS1, PSP, and I believe PS Vita. And it was published in Europe by Eon Digital. Nice little Resident Evil clone, good sort of puzzle solving on top of the sort of boss battles. Visually it's not bad. I mean, it's nice to see it all in 3D, although I think the 3D visuals don't look anywhere near as good as the pre-rendered stuff of Resident Evil. Dialogue's a little bit silly, but good fun. I think it's been quite a good enjoyment. I think that's a good sample of the game. I'm certainly going to recommend it. So all that leaves me to do is say thank you for watching on the stream, everyone. As always, if you like the stream, please do hit that like button as well. We really do appreciate the likes. Always nice people to know that they enjoyed watching the stream. And I will wrap this stream up there, as I mentioned. So all that leaves me to say is I wish you a good night, a good evening, a good afternoon, or a good morning, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for watching this randomized gaming stream. I will be back tomorrow with another randomized gaming stream, probably PS1 or PS2 again. Well, I've done 2 PS1s, maybe I'll do another. Maybe I will stick with the PS1, although I think I might do some Maybe do an import one tomorrow. Do something. So something I'd like to sort of mix it up so that we don't repeat the same genres that much. So it's nice to actually do survival horror. Maybe see if we've got some puzzle games or something that's a bit more interesting. Although fight nights with fighting games I'll reserve for the Friday stream only, which is our regular fight night stream, as you're probably all aware by now. And we will be doing, I think me and Dagoon were discussing Cybots on the Sega Saturn, so we may be doing that on Friday. We just need to unlock everything back again. So thank you for watching, everyone. I will see you all tomorrow. Good night for now.